Have you ever wondered if you could survive a zombie outbreak at the happiest place on Earth? It sounds like the perfect fortress. High walls, controlled access, plenty of food, and thousands of potential allies. But here's the brutal truth. Disneyland isn't your magical sanctuary, it's your beautifully themed tomb. There's no rescue coming, no fairy godmother with an escape plan, and Mickey Mouse sure as hell isn't going to save you. You're trapped in 85 acres of pure nightmare fuel, and I'm about to explain exactly why you're screwed. Before we dive into this magical disaster, let's establish our parameters. We're dealing with classic walkers, slow but relentless, attracted to noise and movement. You're already in the park when the outbreak hits, maybe waiting in line for Space Mountain when someone starts screaming about face-eating tourists. You've got whatever's in your pockets, maybe an overpriced churro, and you're with a small group of 4 to 6 people. Because let's be honest, nobody goes to Disney alone unless they're having a midlife crisis. Every Disney park is different, and I can't account for every single Mickey-shaped variable, but the fundamental problems remain the same. You're not the hero of this story. You're just another panicked tourist trying not to become zombie chow in the shadow of Sleeping Beauty's castle. Let's break down what might give you a fighting chance in this mouse-eared hellscape. Controlled access points. Disneyland's perimeter is actually pretty solid. We're talking about high walls, controlled entry points, and security checkpoints that could theoretically keep the undead hordes at bay, at least initially. The park was designed to be a contained experience, which means it's also a contained battlefield. If the outbreak starts inside, great, you're dealing with a finite number of zombies. If it starts outside, those same walls might buy you precious time. Abundant food and water. Here's something most people don't consider. Disneyland is basically a small city when it comes to resources. We're talking about dozens of restaurants, snack stands, and hidden food storage areas. The park serves over 50,000 people daily, which means there's enough food to keep a smaller group of survivors fed for months. Plus, there are water fountains everywhere, and the park has its own water treatment systems. You won't die of thirst while you're busy not dying of zombie bites. Elevated positions and defensible locations. The park is full of elevated positions that could serve as excellent vantage points and defensive positions. Sleeping Beauty's castle, the Matterhorn, Space Mountain. These aren't just attractions, they're potential fortresses. Many of these structures have limited access points, which means you can control who or what gets in. The Swiss Family Treehouse? That's not just a walk-through attraction, that's a zombie-proof apartment with a view. Communication infrastructure. Disney's communication systems are actually pretty robust. They've got park-wide PA systems, emergency communication networks, and even their own radio frequencies. If you can access these systems, you can coordinate with other survivors, call for help, or at least figure out what the hell is happening beyond the berm. Potential weapons and tools. Now, Disney doesn't exactly stock machetes in the gift shops, but there are plenty of improvised weapons if you know where to look. Kitchen areas have knives, maintenance areas have tools, and construction zones have everything from hammers to power tools. The Jungle Cruise boats have actual props that could work as weapons, and don't even get me started on what you could do with a lightsaber from the Star Wars area. Even if it's just plastic, it's better than nothing. Trained staff and security Disney cast members are trained for emergencies, and their security team knows the park inside and out. These people have evacuation procedures, emergency protocols, and most importantly, they know every hidden passage, service tunnel, and backstage area in the park. If you can team up with the right cast members, you've got guides who know escape routes most guests never even knew existed. Underground tunnel system. Here's what most people don't realize. Disneyland has an extensive underground tunnel system called the Utilidors in some Disney parks. While Disneyland's system isn't as extensive as Disney World's, there are still service tunnels and underground areas that could provide safe passage or hiding spots. These areas are off-limits to guests, but in a zombie apocalypse, trespassing is the least of your worries. Medical facilities. The park has first aid stations and medical facilities that could be crucial for treating injuries or dealing with bites before they turn fatal. They've got medical supplies and medications and equipment that could keep your group healthy and functional during the crisis. Now let's get real about what will actually kill you. Now here's where things get ugly, and I mean really ugly. All those advantages I just mentioned, they're about to become your worst nightmares. The crowd crush death trap. Let's start with the most immediate threat. You're not just dealing with zombies, you're dealing with 65,000 panicked tourists who have absolutely no idea what they're doing. When that first scream echoes across Main Street, you're looking at a human stampede that makes Black Friday look like a peaceful meditation retreat. The park's pathways, designed for leisurely strolling and photo ops, become death funnels when everyone's trying to run at once. Those charming narrow walkways in New Orleans Square, they're about to become human meat grinders. The bridges over the rivers of America? Congratulations, you just found your bottleneck where hundreds of people are going to pile up like a traffic accident. I'm talking about crowd densities of 7 people per square meter in some areas. At that point, you're not walking, you're being carried by the crowd whether you like it or not. People are going to fall, get trampled, and create obstacles that make everything worse. You think zombies are scary? Wait until you're caught in a crowd crush where people are literally being squeezed to death while standing upright. The noise nightmare. Remember how I mentioned those PA systems as an advantage? Well, here's the catch. Sound travels and zombies follow sound. Every scream, every announcement, every car alarm in the parking lot is basically a dinner bell for the undead. Disneyland is designed to be noisy. We've got fireworks, parades, ride sound effects, and thousands of people talking, laughing, and screaming on rides. In a normal day, that's magical. During a zombie outbreak, it's like ringing the dinner bell for every walker within miles. Those sound systems that could coordinate survivors, they're also broadcasting your location to every zombie in Orange County. The attraction death traps. All those rides I mentioned as potential safe spots, they're actually elaborate death traps. Think about it. You're in the haunted mansion when the outbreak starts. You're in a slow-moving vehicle, in the dark, with limited visibility and no way to quickly exit. The ride has to be manually stopped, the lights have to come on, and then you have to navigate through a building designed to be confusing and disorienting. Space Mountain? You're trapped in a roller coaster car in complete darkness. Pirates of the Caribbean. You're in a boat in a tunnel with water on both sides and limited exit points. These attractions weren't designed for emergency evacuation. They were designed to keep you contained for the experience. That containment becomes a coffin when zombies start wandering the queue lines. The resource competition bloodbath. Sure, there's food in the park, but guess what? 65,000 other people know that too. Those restaurants and food stands are going to become war zones as people fight over supplies. You think people get aggressive over Disney merchandise? Wait until they're fighting over the last box of crackers while zombies are literally eating people outside. The staff areas with the good supplies? They're locked, and the people with keys are either dead, turned, or have barricaded themselves in. You're going to be competing with thousands of other survivors for resources, and not everyone's going to play nice when their kids are hungry and zombies are at the door. The fortress becomes a prison. Those walls I mentioned that keep zombies out, they also keep you in. Disneyland's perimeter isn't designed for people to climb over. It's designed to keep people contained within the park experience. The main gates become choke points, where thousands of people are trying to escape through a handful of exits while zombies pour in from the outside. The monorail? It's not running during an emergency. The parking lot? It's probably full of abandoned cars and zombies who followed the screaming. Those boats that could take you across the rivers of America to safety, they're not going to help when the entire park is compromised. The communication breakdown. All that communication infrastructure becomes useless when the power goes out, the staff evacuates, or the systems get overwhelmed. Cell towers get overloaded, emergency services are dealing with the entire county falling apart, and that park-wide PA system just becomes another way for zombies to track down survivors. You're not getting rescue calls on your phone, you're getting emergency alerts telling you to shelter in place while the National Guard tries to contain the outbreak. Those radio systems the staff use, they're either dead or broadcasting nothing but screams and pleas for help. The psychological breakdown. Here's what really kills people in survival situations. It's not the zombies, it's the complete psychological breakdown when reality hits. You came to Disneyland to have fun, to escape reality, to feel safe and magical. Now you're watching families get torn apart by zombies while It's a Small World plays in the background. The cognitive dissonance of trying to survive a horror movie in the middle of a children's theme park is going to break people's minds. Adults are going to freeze up, kids are going to panic, and everyone's going to make stupid decisions because their brain can't process what's happening. The seasonal nightmare. Depending on when this outbreak hits, you could be dealing with additional complications. Summer means extreme heat, dehydration, and 80,000 plus people in the park. Halloween season means the park is already decorated like a horror movie, making it harder to distinguish between props and actual threats. Christmas means crowds so dense you can barely move on a normal day. Winter might seem better, but now you're dealing with shorter days, which means more time in darkness with limited visibility. And if it's during a special event like New Year's Eve, you're looking at maximum capacity crowds with nowhere to go. All right, let's break this down with some cold, hard numbers. Short-term survival at the first 24 to 48 hours is 3 out of 10. You might make it through the initial chaos if you're lucky, smart, and ruthless. The key is avoiding the crowd crush, finding a secure location quickly, and staying quiet while everyone else panics themselves to death. Long-term survival weeks to months, 1 out of 10. Even if you survive the first few days, you're trapped in a finite space with dwindling resources and an increasing zombie population. Every day, more survivors turn, resources get scarcer, and your hiding spots become more obvious. The key advantages for this are controlled environment with known boundaries, abundant initial food and water supplies, potential defensive positions and attractions, and possible access to communication systems. But there are also some critical disadvantages. Massive crowd density leading to stampedes and chaos, limited escape routes, creating bottlenecks, noise levels attracting zombies from miles around, resource competition with thousands of other survivors, and psychological trauma from horror in a happy place. Now here's the realistic timeline. Hours 1 to 6 bring mass panic, crowd crushes, and initial zombie spread. Days 1 to 3 see resource hoarding, group formation, and zombie population growth. Week 1 brings food shortages, power failures, and communication breakdown. Week 2 and beyond mean complete societal breakdown within the park and zombie overrun. My advice? If you hear the first screams, don't head for the exits with everyone else. That's suicide. Find the nearest cast member, get to a secure backstage area, and wait for the initial chaos to die down. Then, and only then, try to make your escape through service areas most people don't know exist. But honestly, your best bet is to never be there when it starts. Because once those gates close and the screaming begins, the happiest place on Earth becomes the deadliest place on Earth. Now what do you think? Am I being too harsh on the mouse, or did I miss some crucial survival advantages? Drop your own Disneyland zombie survival rating in the comments. I'm genuinely curious if anyone thinks they could beat those odds. And hey, if this kind of deep dive survival analysis is your thing, smash that like button and subscribe for more nightmare scenarios in places you thought were safe. I've got my eye on shopping malls, cruise ships, and airports next, because apparently I hate happiness and want to ruin everything fun about modern life. Thanks for watching, and remember, in a zombie apocalypse, the real magic is just staying alive.